Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk just published or just tweeted what really happened with the Hunter Biden story. Suppression by Twitter will be published on Twitter at 5 p.m. Eastern. Be here at 5 p.m. Eastern or right after. I will have an update on this channel at around 9 p.m. Pacific. We'll have a live stream. And we're going to talk about this because this is a monumental, epic moment in American political history. You can't have a platform side with the Democratic Party to hide the truth about the Democratic Party. You can't do that. That democracy will cease to exist. When Democrats and media pontificate about democracy, what they really mean is they want everything to go their way. They want anything about their corruption, any journalism, investigative journalism about their corruption, about their possible criminal activity, completely silenced, suppressed, censored, and that's okay for them. That's just fine. Democracy flourishes. And then you have the Washington Post, democracy perishes in darkness. It's like, well, the lack of discussion about Hunter, about Joe. They said, oh, well, it was hacked a laptop. The emails were hacked. Well, the DNC emails were actually true, and emails written by the Democratic Party showing Bernie Sanders was cheated. The truth about the Democratic Party is a national security risk. And they can't type an email without, or own a laptop without it being everywhere. And so when Clinton had servers with top secret intel that she was siphoning outside of the United States government, even James Comey said, watch the short on this channel. Even James Comey said, yeah, you know what? Laws were broken, but no reasonable prosecutor would indict. Hit subscribe, ladies and gentlemen, to this channel right now and be here in about an hour or so, 2 hours, because I will have an update. But you have a situation where Elon Musk is going to show the world and be here tonight for the live stream at around 9 p.m. Pacific. If you want to be part of a newsletter, it's contactgoodman88@gmail.com. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below, and the super thanks is below as well. You can't have platforms side with the Democratic Party, and you've seen that for years and years now. This not only stifles speech, okay? It's the antithesis of free speech, okay? The arbiters of truth and goodness and civility, when Donald Trump's brother passed away, you want to know what was trending on Twitter? #WrongTrump, okay? How despicable and vile can you be? Now, these are the morally superior people who think that Trump compelled people to commit criminal acts. If he had done so, ladies and gentlemen, then he would have been indicted. This is like a respectful rebuttal to Jack White, rock and roll star, who tried to mock Elon Musk. Had Trump tried to compel people to commit crimes, he would have been indicted. And the January committee would have already given all the evidence that he broke existing laws that predate Twitter. Twitter did not begin speech laws. Like the laws pertaining to the First Amendment did not emanate in like 2011 or whenever Twitter first started. You have existing laws that predate Twitter. If you've committed a crime, then you will be indicted. If you telling somebody to commit a crime, if you truly can compel or incite somebody like they accuse Trump of, then you'll be indicted in a court of law because there's enough evidence. The entire American political establishment despises Trump. They couldn't find a shred of evidence to indict him. Not a shred. And we know this because he hasn't been indicted. So a respectful rebuttal to Jack White of, rock and roll star. He's absolutely talented, and but he stated, so Elon, how's that free speech thing working out? Instead of saying, oh, you did a good thing or you did the right thing from a liberal perspective. Now, as a Jewish American, I feel that it has spiraled into like an abyss. I think that what happened was, unfortunately, he painted everyone with the same brush and ignored the fact that in industry, the way the industry is run is despicable and vile and sinister and nefarious. So the record industry, Hollywood, these are the boxing game. Mike Tyson and Larry Holmes have talked about how Don King, Larry Holmes said he fought like a whole bunch of times one year, only got paid $200 or so, something like that, $200 to $500 for like 3 or 4 fights in 1 year. The game is like the boxing industry, record industry, Hollywood industry is a vile, nefarious, sinister industry with people who are manipulative. And what happened with Ye is that instead of calling out specific individuals or suing them, he painted my faith, background, everybody with the same brush. And that, unfortunately, is just terrible. And unfortunately, it's made it, Kanye or Ye made it fashionable to actually be to state anti-Semitic things. But it wasn't Trump. Trump, you compare, like The Nation has an article today trying to link Trump and Elon. It's like, no. This is the problem with liberal ideology or democratic politics. Anything they see, they cry wolf all the time. They try to lump, terrible viewpoints along with viewpoints that aren't terrible, that they just disagree with. So Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem, signed an executive order, Trump, combating anti-Semitism on college campuses. The Doha Agreement brought Americans home, that's the most important thing for me. What Biden completely botched, but that was negotiated. But the Abraham Accords was a huge, huge development in that region of the world that benefited the country I had my bar mitzvah in. Nobody has been a better friend to people of my faith. Nobody in U.S. history than Trump. Okay? And so you even had Netanyahu stating the same thing. And so, yeah, if you're liberal and if you're a person of my faith who doesn't like Trump, okay, well, you view Trump as like a horrible person because of his words. His actions are amazing. And his words were nothing compared to what happened with Ye. And what happened with Ye, one could make an argument that he shouldn't have been banned. But at the same time, you don't want a platform that could possibly, if you can make an argument for free speech that Jack White was trying to mock. Oh, how's it going? You know what? You're deciding. Oh, I see. You have to choose who gets free speech and who doesn't. Then, well, no. Yes and no. The content moderation team of the prior Twitter regime thought that the New York Post was an example of something nobody should... The New York Post story on Hunter was an example of something nobody should hear or read. And they lumped that with horrible, terrible, offensive speech that could compel people to commit criminal acts. That's the problem, Hollywood celebrities. That's the problem. When you are the arbiters of truth and you could just lump anything with Ye's current... unfortunate descent into, an abyss. And so, there's a case to be made in terms of free speech that he shouldn't have been suspended, but it was Elon Musk's call that he thought because of the specific spiral that Ye could have been influencing others to commit criminal acts through his speech. Now, that was the judgment call on Elon Musk that should be celebrated by Jack White. It wasn't celebrated by Jack White because through kind of like this kind of malicious type of rebuttal, the rock and roll star said, oh, well, how come we can't decide that Trump is also compelling people to commit crimes and you get to decide now, Elon? Oh, must be nice. Like, no. Trump never compelled anyone to commit crimes. That's why he wasn't indicted. And what happens with media is they sensationalize everything Trump has ever said. But when Biden tells Charlemagne the God the most despicable, bigoted thing ever, that you're not who you are if you don't vote for him, immediately it's swept under the rug. And so you can't compare what took place with Ye with Trump. Trump didn't commit any crimes, neither did Ye, but what happened with Ye was a spiral that could have compelled people to do something terrible. That was a judgment call on Elon Musk. There's actually an argument to be made that Jack White is actually kind of like pointing out, but he's doing so in like a manner that's trying to, teach Elon Musk a lesson. But the opposite is true. When White says, "Oh, these folks don't compel," no, these folks don't compel. When you are with Ye, it was a specific situation. Trump, no better friend, and I have friends and family. I have family in Israel, friends who are family who are religious, Jewish people like myself, or I'm not religious, but in my background, they love Trump. So comparing the two is completely like night and day. The dinner that Trump had, that was a setup. He had no clue that what's his name was coming. Okay? And you defeat terrible viewpoints through logic and reason. I debated Richard Spencer and I defeated him from the first moment to the last moment, especially the last 20 minutes through reason, logic, discussion. If you want to watch that, it's my debate with Richard Spencer where I defeat him, his logic, his ideology, especially within the last 20 minutes of the debate. But you have to actually defeat ideologies with rational, reasonable, logical arguments. And so, anyway, to make an absurd leap of logic and say, well, these folks compelled, Trump compelled, if you kick Ye out, why don't you kick Trump out? It's like, because there's a huge difference, Mr. White and all of media, a huge difference, a cavernous, gigantic distance separating Trump and Ye. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Be here very soon.